What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Patrina Dixon. I am your personal finance coach and also known as the It's My Money lady across all these social streets. I am so excited for this episode that we're going to talk about today. But before we get in, if you are new to It's My Money with Patrina Dixon, make sure if you're watching us, you drop down and hit that red subscribe button. And if this is the first time listening, make sure you're following us on whichever audio platform that you listen to podcasts on. So this is It's My Money with Patrina Dixon. I am all things personal finance and grants for small business owners. So if you are going along your financial journey and would like an online digital platform to help you along your way, It's My Money Academy is a great resource for you. You can hit that link below and get access to videos, calculators, also budget templates as well. And if you are a small business owner or an aspiring business owner and would like debt-free capital for your business, that's called grants. You can join the Grants for Small Business Owners community as well. That link is below. My team curates a new list of grants every single month, and we publish it on the 25th. And if you need help writing those grants, we have a grant writer on our team as well. So without further ado, I have a guest that's going to drop some knowledge for you. Hello, Miss Nikki. How are you?
I am good. How are you?
I'm very well. So I know, you all know that I love to bring guests on to give you knowledge. And Miss Nikki, tell them a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to get into what we're going to talk about here today.
Okay, sounds great. Well, thank you for having me. I'm very happy to have the conversation today. And I am a blogger, I'm a speaker, I'm a personal financial strategist, and a certified divorce financial analyst. I've been in the finance space for over 20 years, both on the commercial and on the personal side. And I primarily work with female breadwinners because it is really, really important to me that they protect their financial security.
Yeah, she said free female breadwinners. Y'all heard that, right? Right. So I love that. I had an initial thought when you said that, but I'm gonna leave that alone. But y'all know I love bringing on guests that love talking about money, and it looks like Miss Nikki loves green like I do. So I know this is gonna be a great conversation. So the area that we're gonna focus on here today is if you find yourself in a situation where you're at divorce, so was married, no longer married, and you weren't the one that handled the finances. What do? Sometimes that's really stressful for individuals. And Miss Nikki is here to tell you it doesn't have to be, because she can offer tips to help you even if you're just starting out. So what would be the first thing that you would say? This is an individual that didn't expect, because sometimes people expect that divorce is pending, but sometimes people don't expect that this to happen. They've never managed their money. They're and to use, I love how you said breadwinning women. So what if, and talk about it from a person that does make money and a person maybe not contributing to the household in a traditional format. So how do you talk to that person about what do they do for path forward?
Yeah, so there are a couple of different things, and it really depends on your individual financial circumstances, of course. But two areas that I want to hit it from. One would be making sure that you have support. So very often when someone is going through a divorce, then you may have a therapist, or a counselor, or someone that you are spending time with, sharing your feelings with, and all of that, because you need that support. And a mistake that people make is when the divorce is over, then they get rid of the support. You're going to continue to need that support for a good amount of time, because that emotional roller coaster is not going to end the day that you sign your papers. There are other things that will happen that will hit you from an emotional perspective, particularly if you have children, because that transition is hard. So that's one thing that I want to say that I want to encourage women to do, is to keep your support base there, keep your friends and family close that you can trust, that have been along the journey with you, but also some professional support. That's one thing. Another thing is somewhat tactically. So when you're going through a divorce, and if your settlement included a split of retirement assets, you might have to have what's called a quadro, which is a qualified domestic relations order. That essentially is the document that allows your retirement accounts to be split up. Sometimes people forget to make sure that everything is filed appropriately. Okay. So particularly if you are the non-moneyed partner or the non-money spouse, it's going to be really important that you get everything that you have coming to you. So you want to make sure that the work that was done during the divorce process, that you make sure all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed when you're working with your attorney, and that the quadro is filed and everything is okay. Okay. Because we've heard horror stories about clients that are like, oh, we finalized our divorce 15 years ago and we forgot to make sure the quadro was filed. And it's like, oh my God, right? This is terrible. Uh,
Leading me to a question though. So does the person in this situation that you're describing, should they be savvy enough to know what you're talking about? Or if they've secured a resource to help in that process, should they be the
yes.
ones to remind them to do that?
Yes, they're working with their professionals. Your average individual won't have the necessary information and background and experience to file a quadro. So that's not expected.
Okay.
However, the individuals that you're working with you through your divorce process, likely your divorce attorney and your financial experts, if you have them, can make sure that the paperwork and everything is filed because it's a court approved document.
Yeah. And that's why I love bringing on guests like you, because even though, your hired professionals should know this, but what if they didn't tell you, or what if you hired somebody based on your financial situation that may not have, deeper expertise like someone else, that some of this stuff yourself as well. So I love that you're talking about this. So now you're talking about like documents and what they should know. Now, again, going back to that person who has never done the finances, what would be one of the things that they should then do? So now they got the documents all set. Let's just say it's already passed. They got the decree, the documents. Now they're managing the money. Like they're whatever that would be, if that's money they're getting in from that former partner, or now they've taken on a job. How do they begin that process?
So now life is real and you
Life is life.
well, life is lifing for sure. And you've become that person that either if you have children, your kids are counting on to make sure that there's food on the table and their a roof stays over their heads. And even if you don't have children, that you are okay. The good thing about a divorce, there are not a lot of great things, but the good thing about a divorce is typically at the end of the process, you have a really good idea of where you stand financially because you've had to go through a lot of financial disclosures, communications, and it's a lot of transparency embedded in the process. So you're starting off from a financial footprint perspective in a really good spot. You know where you are, okay? So what that means is you take advantage of this opportunity to keep that good trend going. You want to stay informed about where your money is growing and where your money is going. So if you have never,
We're going to keep growing and going. Like she dropped the bar. You want to know where it's growing and where it's going. I love it. Love it. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, that's real talk because it's really important if you haven't been the person deeply engaged with your finances, now is your opportunity. And again, you take the good thing about a divorce and say, this is your springboard to say, all right, I'm in this good position now. Good is relative, but I'm in this good position now where at least I know. And I know what I need to do. And I also know if I need additional support. So this is not the time to put your head back under the covers and say, I'm not good with money. I don't like that phrase. And I don't believe in that phrase, by the way. But I know that that's the language that we use. I'm not good with money. I don't understand it. I'll figure it out later. And you push everything to the side. I implore you not to do that. If you need to enlist a financial professional, if you need to enlist a money coach, if you need to listen to more podcasts, read more books, that's the time to do that. So I don't want you to be afraid of continuing to be intimate with your money. And that also means that you come up with a spending plan, AKA budget. I like the phrase spending plan.
Talk about it. You cannot get away from budgeting, you all.
You
I
cannot.
know a
You
lot of you
cannot.
do not like the term budgeting. Call it spending plan,
Yep.
call it cash flow meeting, call it your money meeting, whatever it is, just do it regularly, do it as often as you get
Yeah.
money in. But okay, Nikki, go ahead. So
Yep.
yeah, so monitor your cash flow, your income and your outflow. Make sure
Yes.
you're managing that no matter what level. Because there's a misconception that people that make less need to do it only. People that make money and don't manage money need to know how to manage their money. So it doesn't matter how much you make or where you land from a divorce perspective. You need to understand your cash flow, and cash flow defined by what's coming in and what's going out. Not up here, actually on paper.
1,000% agree. Okay. Listen to what she's telling you, people. This is exactly on point. You're never going to be able to have all of these numbers in your head. It's not
Mhm.
possible. You can have a general understanding. For example, if you're following a budget plan that's your 50/30/20, you may have an understanding of where you're spending the majority of your money, how much you're able to save, and what's left for discretionary. But at the end of the day, you have to put pen to paper or again, using technology, and it doesn't have to be complicated. A Google spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet is fine. My
Mhm.
mom still likes to write it down.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't care how you do it as long as you do it. But there are
Exactly.
also lots of resources and websites that can make it a lot easier for you, whether you want to integrate your financial accounts where it's pulling in your information, or you want to manually enter it. You have a lot of options in today's world.
Absolutely. And for those of you watching that may find yourself in this situation either now or going to be, it's okay what you don't know. Now that you have taken the time to listen to this episode or watch it, we're providing you with information to help you with tomorrow. Yesterday is gone. And that's actually a song, right? So there's nobody is like blaming you for what you didn't learn before, what you didn't know, the fact that you didn't manage your finances. It's now you have become aware that it's something that you now need to do, and we're offering you thoughts, resources, suggestions to help you along your way. No, I do want you to know that you can do it. So now it's about you taking the bull by the horn and moving forward and day by day, incorporate something into the process that wasn't before, each day, and then you'll get there. So Nikki, let's talk a little bit about, we talked about making sure that they manage day by, manage their expenses, their cash flow. And what about, or do you talk to your clients about your lifestyle may have incorporated going out for lobster 3 days a week? Maybe you can't anymore. Maybe you can. I don't know. How do you get them to, there may need to be a shift, even for a little while until things begin to adjust. How do you touch that topic with these individuals?
Yeah, the reality of a divorce is that both partners will feel a financial impact. Now,
Mm,
depending on the situation, it could be a really significant impact or it could be moderate. It
mm,
all just depends. Pre-divorce, post-divorce, one thing that I think is really important, and I've talked to my clients about this a lot, is I call it a 360 review. So, in corporate America, where you have an opportunity to get reviewed by your managers, you get reviewed by your peers, you get reviewed by your direct reports if you're a leader. You can take that same concept and do an entire review, up, down, sideways, of everything you're spending money on. And more than likely, you have opportunities to save money. So I used to be a latte girl and I still love lattes. I've had to change things up for health reasons, but I'm not the person that says, don't buy the latte. Buy the
yeah,
latte, okay?
yeah,
As
yeah,
long as buying the latte doesn't mean that you can't pay your mortgage or you
exactly,
can't pay your rent. So
exactly.
trying to restrict yourself is not going to be helpful, but
Mhm.
finding opportunities to save money will be helpful. So a 360 review could look like this. Let's say you've been with your insurance provider, State Farm, Allstate, those are major insurance providers. Let's say you've been with them for 20 years. Nine times out of 10, you're paying more than you would if you shopped with other providers. There are a number of websites that can help you shop for insurance, whether it's life insurance or property insurance, or you can talk to other agents and brokers. It's okay to shop around for essential services and things that you need in order to live life. It's okay to look for it. So
Exactly.
bring your car insurance down so that you won't feel the squeeze so much now that you've gone from a two income household to a one income household. Or maybe there's opportunities to save with your cell phone provider or a number of different things. So I think just looking, again, we're talking about looking at your money, we're talking about looking at your budget, but look at the service providers and say, am I paying too much for internet? Do I have 17 subscriptions of streaming services and I only watch two? And I think sometimes people are like, well, one day next year this show is coming back and I'm just going to keep it so that I can watch it when the show comes back. You know what you can do? You can cancel it. You can save a little bit of money until the show comes back, and then you can sign up again because they will always take you back.
Exactly. It's so interesting that you two points I want to hit on what you just said, because I actually, when I used to work one-on-one with clients, I actually had a client that had that exact situation, tons of subscriptions. And when we pulled back, what the subscriptions that they were paying for. So the one point I want to make on that is the best way to go and look at what you're paying for is go look at what you've paid, right? Go look at your bank statement or whatever, wherever you have your things being paid from, your credit card statement, bank statement, etc. So then you won't forget what things are happening. You may have to go back a few months because maybe you pay them every 3 months, every 6 months, or monthly, whatever it is. But this particular individual, and hopefully he's watching this, so he'll hear me talk about his success. And what we talked about were subscriptions. And he said exactly what you just said. Well, this provider shows this particular series and this one shows this series. So, but he went on. So as being a coach, it's about sharing things, not actually telling them, right? So he went on to share with me that his cell phone provider offers subscriptions through that service. So he went. So I said, you know what? Go take a look at what series come on the ones that come under your cell phone bill, because we know they're gonna pay for that cell phone bill, right? And then what other ones that you are paying in addition to that. And do you know that his findings were most of the shows that he watched came under the free ones, or I don't know if they were free, but they were already on the plan that were part of the cell phone versus the individual subscriptions. So he was so excited to share that he's canceled all the ones that he didn't need to have. And if there was a show that was a part of that for him, now that may not be for everybody else. He were, good friends with some buddies, and he went to go watch that show with them. So it was just, you have to find those creative ways, and looking over where you've spent the money, where the subscriptions, which subscriptions you're paying for, will help you determine which ones you really need to keep. So I thought I would just add that in, because it was a real life example of somebody that's doing what you're suggesting that these folks take a look at.
It's a really good point, and I think that people underestimate the impact that it could have because things add up really quickly. Again, we're not asking you to deprive yourself. We're just saying be smarter about how you spend the money, and sometimes even how you spend your time.
Mhm.
The other thing that I want to call out too, and particularly in our community, and particularly with women, but this could be indiscriminate also, is when you're in the sandwich generation, and the sandwich generation means you got someone on the top and someone beneath squeezing you. So it could be a parent and it could be a child, and you're the person that they call for everything, and you're usually shelling out a lot of money. When you go through a divorce, it is important to have really transparent conversations with those that are squeezing you. Now, sometimes you're being squeezed on all sides. So you got nieces and nephews and aunts and cousins, and you're the go to person. You're the plan and you're the backup plan. Well, now they need to know that things are a little bit different. Okay.
Yeah.
No fault of your own, but this is the reality. So it's also an opportunity to level set with people that are used to borrowing money from you or used to not paying you back, and are, in my opinion, sometimes a little too comfortable with not paying you back, or thinking, oh, well, she has it. She doesn't need it. She'll be okay if I don't give her the little $20 back or the $50 back. Actually, no, I'm not. So you know that that $50 you borrowed from me 6 months ago, now would be a fantastic time for you to pay it back, because as you know, I just went through a divorce and I don't have the income that I used to anymore. Or, hey, I just want to give you a heads up. I know you're used to coming for me when you get in trouble, but things are different. So I can't be the person that you go to all the time. I would love to help you. I'll pray for you, keep you in my thoughts, but I'm just not your go-to source anymore. Those transparent conversations are necessary, and the end of your divorce is a great time to have them.
Yeah. I love it. I love that. I think that conversation should happen even outside of that situation, because it's just so, as you talk, I'm like, oh my gosh, so many different things are resonating. I had another client. I'm like, when they were the resource, to your point. I don't think that, I don't know if it was sandwich, but it was like the top down. And it was like, it's, you don't always have to say no in the word no, but maybe you cap the amount that you're able to give because you found that that is something that you could do within your budget. Because for some people, they feel like they have to, and you know what I mean. And so it's about, okay, maybe it can't be whatever that large sum is, even if you're not in divorce, but maybe you're planning to do something on your own, go on vacation, buy a home, whatever it is that you're planning to do. Maybe you can add in your budget that we talked about earlier, even call it that person's name that's always coming to you. This is the bucket, and once that's depleted, that's it. And you have to do that for yourself because you need to have your mask on in order to help someone else. So as you think about commonalities of people that have never managed money before, in their fears, what is the top one? What is, because sometimes you have women, or people, I should say, not just women, are astute. Even though they're not doing it, they can pick it up and just go. What do you find is the biggest barrier, or the biggest, like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize this? What is that? What would you say that is, when a person find themselves, that we're talking about here, divorced unexpectedly and now have to manage the money?
It's a combination of two things from my perspective. One is a little bit of shame because they
Mm,
haven't, and they're like, "Oh, I know I should have, but I haven't," or I've tried to do it in the past and I wasn't successful. So a little bit of shame associated with that. The other piece is fear that they're going to do something catastrophically wrong and make a huge mistake in that, again, it's going to impede the way that they live and how they take care of themselves on the like most fundamental level. So there may be other things that they say as far as what their the biggest issue or concern is, but when you really drill down into it, it's just about the fear of the unknown or the fear of making a mistake.
mm,
And so most people don't really realize that unless you go off the rails, or you have something that's maybe like a behavior issue, addiction or gambling or something like that, you're not going to break anything. Okay. So you have a lot of room to make mistakes and then just pick back up. It doesn't matter that you haven't been great in the past. It
mm.
also doesn't matter that you're not exactly sure of what decision to make, if you should be investing, if you should purchase a house in this neighborhood. I implore people to leverage resources and people. We live in a modern society that allows us to tap into information. So it's completely fine that you don't know the answer. It's
Yes.
completely fine that you're afraid to make a mistake. It's completely normal that you're worried if you'll be able to make ends meet for what, if you're living paycheck to paycheck or not. Not everyone is living paycheck to paycheck, but some people are like, well, I got a little bit of money, but I'm afraid that if I start investing, I'm gonna lose it all, right? There are safeguards and things that you can do to prevent that from happening. So that's what I see with the
Okay.
clients that I work with, and particularly post divorce, is they don't quite know what to expect and how things are going to go, and they're making up stories that are not necessarily tied to reality.
And how do people find you? So you work with the women that get to this point. How do they? How do people find you, so that you can, and talk about how, what you do, what your service is to help that individual?
Yeah, very often is word of mouth, but you can also find us on the internet. So we have our site, which is thefirmapproach.com. Firm has two I's, so I
Yeah.
always call that out. But you can find us on our site. We have a blog available there. Also, we're on Instagram. I hang out there sometimes, probably not enough, but I hang out there sometimes. And you can always just reach out to me via email. Our info contact information is on the site as well if you have questions, or even if you're on the front end of divorce and you're trying to figure out like what to do and what should you think about.
And do you connect with like divorce attorneys? Is that another referral source for you? How people
Oh,
get in?
absolutely.
'Cause
Yeah.
I'm envisioning, like, people that are going through this, they don't know to look out a person like you. Maybe they are going to look out, how do I manage my finances? But how do they get, like, an expert in this specific topic when they get to that point? So is it divorce attorneys that that's a referral source for you?
It is. Divorce attorneys and mediators as well. We play really well in the sandbox, actually. So most divorce providers really believe in collaborating. And also therapists. I have quite a few therapists that'll send a referral to me because they're like, okay, it's only one side of this that I can that I can help with. I think they need some help on the other side. And I do want to call out this one little thing that I have to mention. It's really important if you are someone who is considering a divorce. I want you to understand that the first phone call does not have to be to an attorney. It is the easiest way to run up your bill, sometimes unnecessarily. I love divorce attorneys, they play a critical role in the process, but I want people to understand that you don't have to follow the traditional path. Leverage podcasts like this, leverage resources, books, information that's available so you can understand what to expect without always having to pay a retainer before you've even fully decided if you're getting a divorce or not. So I just wanted to make sure I call that out.
Oh, that's a great, Nikki. Thank you for sharing that. I think that that'll be helpful for folks because people are not like lives, right? And it's good when there are people that are compassionate and can share things based on their experience. That's what this show is all about. So I appreciate you for that. So now I guess I do want to end this with a couple things before we go into I want you to restate where they can find you, and the link will be below because also know you have a resource that they may be able to tap in as well. So if you had to give a comment on a person that's never managed money and was an individual that did not work, traditionally work, I guess I should say. Do you see that, and what do you see happen with individuals like that? Do they then go back into the go into an office? I don't want to say physical office, but begin working for an employer, I guess I should say. Do you see that ends up being a path for them, or because there's so many non newer ways, I should call them, I don't even want to call them non-traditional because now it's like the way now, there's other ways that they can make income? Do you see them going that route?
It's a little bit of both. I
Okay.
think more often it is going back into either a corporate world or the traditional working world. And I do think sometimes that women tend to be shocked by this because they overestimate the amount of spousal support and sometimes even child support that they're going to receive. So they may think, well, I'll just get a little part time job and we'll be fine. And that's okay if you're in a situation where you're able to do that. But it's a reality check for a lot of people that you might have to earn an immediate income in order to sustain life. And I think that that's a bit shocking for some. Now, there are those that do a little bit of both where they're getting a W-2 income and then they start a business as well, which is fantastic. We always want to encourage multiple streams of income anyway, so it's not a bad thing to do.
And
Yeah,
especially when some can be passive, you better talk about it.
exactly, exactly. But sometimes the ramp up time can be a little bit longer than what people may have anticipated, and so they need some now money to
Yeah.
cushion that transition.
Yes, absolutely. So as I talked about, I know you're going to have a resource. I'm going to fill that thing out. So we're going to drop that link below. Tell them a little bit about that resource, where they're going to find the link below.
Yeah, so as soon as you hit our website, thefirmapproach.com, there's an option for you to grab what we call our divorce support pack. And we work with clients for free and we work with clients for fee. This is one of the things you can get for free.
Y'all should just drop some bars, y'all. You hear?
But the divorce support pack is intended to hit some of those common mistakes, those common questions, things to consider right before you get a divorce and immediately after. And so again, it's kind of a launching pad if you need it and a resource to help those depending on your particular situation.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why we thought this episode was important, because when I got Nikki's information, it was some people. Sometimes it happens and people have no idea it's coming, right? So one, we want you to know that there's a resource, and again, whatever happened before happened, and now you can move forward. And we're not unempathetic to the point. It's also an emotional part as well. Where this episode is specific not on the emotion but on the financial part, because to Nikki's point, life keeps life in, right? And especially if there's children. So we want to ensure that that as you work through the emotion and need to work on the financial side, that there's resources for you to help you along the way. So, Nikki, I enjoyed you today. Thank you so much for being on the Money Exchange. And again, the resources, her website and the resource that she talked about, that link will be below. So make sure that you check it out. And to her point, her services are, she has the guide that's for free, but there is a fee their services if you want to work with her and the services. And tell them a little bit about what you do in the fee-based side to help them
Yeah.
along.
Yeah, thanks for asking and allowing me to just share that. So, two primary ways that we work with our clients. One is what we call our silent preparation series, because sometimes there are
I will
people
take that.
that they're preparing for divorce in secret. It's not something that you're boasting about and you're not sharing it with the world. Maybe there are a couple trusted people that know, and it's a lot of questions that you have. And it's not an overnight decision. So we understand that. And the Silent Preparation Series is a digital on demand guide that allows you to understand what to expect, how much things are going to cost, how to keep the costs down, and the different professionals that you can work with. So we have videos and an entire guide, like a 60-page guide, but we break it down in different ways so that you get like full breadth and depth of just what am I getting myself into should you decide to get a divorce. And then on the post side, whether you've been divorced for 5 months, 5 years, 15 years, is our Bring Home the Bacon workshops. And so again, we work with female breadwinners, and we're really concerned about making sure that you're doing all the things to protect your financial security. So it includes things around budgeting and managing your money and understanding when you should enter into the market and retirement setups. But it also talks about estate planning. It also talks about making sure you have financial fill-ins. And it's just a lot of different things that we try to cover because we understand how heavy the burden is for someone who is now doing everything on their own. And if you're planning on getting remarried, then we want to prepare you for that as well, and strategic steps you need to take to protect yourself in this second or third marriage.
I love it. I love it so much. Well, Nikki, thank you again for being on. You've provided a host of information for our listeners here. So, again, make sure that you drop down and grab her information and let us know what you think about the show. Leave us a comment, a thumbs up, a like. And if you think that this information could be helpful for others, make sure that you share it. So, once again, if you don't know who I am, now you know. Make sure that you keep it locked here with It's My Money with Patrina Dixon. If you are not subscribed and you're watching us, drop down and hit that red subscribe button. And if you are listening to us for the first time, make sure you're following us on whichever episode that you're listening. I appreciate you, and make it a great day.